Good morning. Good morning and welcome to this Tuesday morning Eurythmy online webinar. This is our fourth series and the second lesson in this series. And we're working on Eurythmy with vowels and colors as expressions of the soul. So as you sign in, as you come into the web, please write your name in the chat box and also where you're from and any other morning greetings that you would like to give. And perhaps you know that I'm standing a little bit away from my computer, so I can't read them now. But when the webinar is over, I open them all up and I look at all these greetings and it warms my heart. So thank you for doing that. And as you sign in and read where everyone's coming from, try to expand your consciousness and awareness too. Send it all the way through the United States, all the way through this North American continent, down into Mexico. We've had some people coming in from South America. And we spread our awareness across the oceans, east and west. We have people with us on this journey. And as I've said before, it's wonderful to think that we're moving in simultaneous time, even though not in the same place. And I marvel and wonder at how that's happening in this world that we're living in. Today, 2020, able to do this work of bringing light into the world of the internet. And sometimes when I talk to people about it, I say how wonderful it is. If we didn't bring light into this internet community, we would only find this artificial intelligence. So we're doing good work here. And thank you so much for joining. I'm very grateful always for their questions and what you write to me afterwards. So I'd like to give a couple of announcements or indications here. First of all, I understand that there are a few people who are signed up who are apparently new, possibly to Eurythmy and new to these series. I hope you read the PDF that I sent out yesterday. I also sent it out last week, both on Monday and Tuesday, and I'll send it out again today. That PDF has the instructions for this workshop that we're doing, for all of the exercises. And on the email that I sent out, both last week and this week, I also give some words that will help you to go back and look at previous webinars. So I have included the concluding PDF for webinar series 2, in which we did many of the vowels and the hallelujah. And I've included the concluding webinar, the concluding PDF for webinar series 3, which includes all the rod exercises. And this is a special word of encouragement to those of you who are new, because the rod exercises are so central to building a personal Eurythmy practice. And if you're jumping in you won't have the information that you need to join us for these first opening exercises. So do please go back, read the PDFs, and watch the webinars from the previous weeks, which at this point you can still find on the YouTube channel for free. So thank you very much. I also want you to know that tomorrow afternoon, late afternoon and at my time, I'm giving a Eurythmy lecture online, and I'll send the link out to that and it will be posted later. I'm doing it for another group that is doing studies on Christianity, and they've asked me to do Eurythmy with respect to the word. And now to this week's work. In the PDF that I sent to you, I wrote introductory words about color, because today we're going to open up that book of color, and week by week we'll introduce a couple of more colors. This week, when we get going, we'll work on blue and yellow, But my important point with this was to point out that colors are not merely pigments. We're so used to seeing colors just with our eyes, but colors are much more than that. And we actually are urged to look at the phenomenon of color as the expression of beings. We do that, as most of you already know, with sounds. The sounds of language are beings, and through Eurythmy, we start to open that door and experience that the sounds aren't just things, but they're the expression of higher archetypes. And who's behind the archetypes? Beings that we're just getting to know. So also with colors, they're the expressions of beings. And in this physical world, everything that we see is draped with colors. But we can also speak of the color of a thought, the color of a sound, the color of movement. And in Eurythmy, we're going to, like we do with everything else in Eurythmy, we're going to learn to embody colors. So we'll be turning to that. It's a wonderful journey. We'll get to that after our warm-up exercises. Now, good people, I know that especially for those of you who've been with me already for 2-3 months, you know that there's so many exercises that I'm giving you, and I'm really so happy to see so many of you who are staying and deepening your Eurythmy practice. I'm giving you as much as I can, but I know that I'm also urging you to make a personal Eurythmy practice. Therefore, in these lessons, I'm now giving the warm-up exercises, the most compact version of how you can start your personal Eurythmy practice in the beginning of the lesson. And then after we've done that for about 20 minutes, I start going into the new material. These are things that you should and can weave into your practice. For instance, we're going to work with straight lines and curves. Wonderful study that will help you to be much more agile in space, to feel the etheric space. We'll start doing that before long this morning. But that doesn't have to be part of your daily working progress in the same way. So once again, these opening exercises are ones that I hope that you'll stay with. And right now, in the season of Michaelmas, we're going to begin with the peace exercise. Then we'll do the verse for courage. Then we'll do copper rod exercises, and then contraction, expansion. And these are elements that I hope you'll keep in your daily practice. Threefold walking also belongs in that too, but we're going to address threefold walking as we work through the different form exercises we'll do. So thank you. Step into your space, please, and take a good stretch while you do. And recognize that you are a spiritual being living in your body. As Eurythmists, we objectify our relation to our body. We know that we're wearing this physical body, life body, astral body, and inside your conscious eye. And as you walk through the world, you're moving firmly incarnated, but conscious of your inner self in all of your deeds in the world. Wouldn't it be fine if everyone in the world walked the streets, took care of their transactions, conscious of their moral integrity? And we align ourselves with that moral integrity when we remember the stars above our head, the earth below our feet. So that's our beginning gesture this morning, standing straight. You are a line of light. High above your head is a star in the sky. Find that line and it inspires you to stand straight. Let that line of light come down and strike into you at the top of your head. See how you can stand straight without looking to that star, and feel it by being very upright. Learn to feel without using your eyes. Let that line of the light go right through you. It actually goes through just a little bit above your spine. It inspires your spine to be straight into the center of the earth. And as I said last week, we know that there are a couple people watching who are in chairs who can't stand, but you can still feel this line of light going from your head to the base of your spine. Let it go down into the center of the earth through you. Standing like this, you are light. You carry that through the world. Feel now your chest, feel your breath, and feel your arms like great wings spread them to the side. Weightlessly, you become the cross of light. Your arms are feeling for the warmth of the world, even as your back looks for the light of the world. And now we add one more dimension as you remember front and back. To begin with, we'll just take a small step forwards. Feel, as you do this, your knee, your shin, your thigh, your trunk, your heart, now your hands and your eyes and your nose, and feel the excitement, even the delight and the, if you will, for a moment, the enthusiastic consumption of the senses. And now let your angel tap you on the back of your heart and say, don't remember where all of this comes from. Lean into the backspace and feel the world of the sources is all around me, even when I'm looking at the world of the senses. You're looking for the source. And now, bring your hands together and fold them over your heart. Within your heart, you bear an image of the whole world. Feel how those 6 directions converge in your heart. Now let's unfold, standing straight, spreading your arms and feeling front and back. Feel your heart in the center, very important, don't lose that. And now we're going to leave this equilibrium and go into the extremes. So we go down into gravity. And if you can't move, you can just lower your arms like fists downwards. But feeling here, clench your fists, feel power, clench your leg muscles if you can, and feel, I'm so at home in this world of the senses. Feel your blood, feel your muscles with gratitude for what the earth gives, and now leave that. And like a flower rising to the sun, without gravity, lift to the heights. Thank you, stars. Now spread your arms wide. Feel your chest wide open, open to the widths of the world. Take a step forward with enthusiasm. Use your eyes, really look forwards. Now let your eyes go soft because all your attention is in your back. Now bring your hands to your heart. Your gaze is inward. Don't shut your eyes, but your gaze is inward. So you feel yourself come home. And now know that your heart Is the creator of your moods around you more important than your hormones or your glands or anything? Your heart, the center of your activity? Let there be peace in your heart. Affirm that you can make it because it's rooted in God. Spread your arms wide. Let your hands feel peace. Now, wherever we go, we will move peacefully through the world. This is the third time, and this third time, feel the words. May peace be below me. Remember, you don't need to speak it, but think it. Pour your energy into your gestures. Move through the world, creating peace as you go upwards. May peace go above me, be above me. May peace be all around me. Feel from your heart into the width. May peace be before me. May peace be behind me. May peace be within me. Affirm that. And rest. A dear friend of mine said last year, working hard as a Waldorf teacher, she said the only eurythmy she could manage to do at the start of her day was the peace exercise. I said, fine, that's all you need to do. That's a fabulous energy to get you set for your day, to become conscious who you are. And now, as we did last week, I want to do a short poem for the Michaelmas season, the season where we need courage and strength. And exceptionally, I'm going to ask you, like I did last week, just to copy my movements, and we'll work on the sounds later on. But I'm going to do the sounds of this poem. I am brave, I am strong, I am valiant, I am bold. And this is something that I do with the children in the school, in the second grade maybe. Don't try it yourself yet. You don't know enough to be a model for this. But here we go. I am brave. I am strong. I am strong. Valiant. I am valiant. I am bold. For the sun fills my heart with its life-giving gold. I am helpful and truthful and loving and free. For the sun's golden rays do shine brightly in me. Good. Thank you. I look forward to doing that a little more intensively, but I'm going to go on now and take my Eurythmy rod. Again, if you're a newcomer and you don't have a rod yet, read what I've written, especially in webinar 3. We have these rods made out of pure copper. If you can't get that together, you can get a wooden dowel. Most important to start your day is the 7-fold exercises with its great clarity. We're measuring space. Remember, precision is important. Don't be sloppy. It really helps to order the physical body, which is the foundation for so much strength. Are you ready? We go down into gravity, up into lightness, to the right side, straight in front, straight up and down, to your left side, right in front of your left hip. You notice how straight it is. To your right side, above, below, in the middle. let me turn around once again so you can mirror me better. Below, above, to the right, to the left, to the right, above, below, in the middle. In your personal practice, do this 7 times or more if you like, to begin with in standing. Below, above, right, left, right, above, below, and standing. That was my 3rd time. 4th time I'm going to step. See if you remember how. We go forwards and down, backwards and up. Step to the right, right side, left side, right, backwards, up, down, in the middle. Again, down, grounding, full length, onto your dominant or the will side, the heart side, the will side. Up and back, down and ground, in the middle. Again, down, up, right, left, right, up, down, middle, and this time I'll do it with 3 steps. My last time, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and back in the middle. Great. Now we will do the waterfall. In my own practice, I do the 12-fold here as well, but this morning I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go on to the waterfall. And you'll remember, we lift in this really rich arc, take the rod behind. You can either touch or not touch. Back there, drop. And now with a beautiful wide arc, bring it around your left side. And again, up and around. Fill the space around you. The idea is to feel this as a complete circle, 360 degrees. So now look, it's in your backspace. You can't see it. You have to wake up to your backspace. Isn't that such an important part of Eurythmy? To learn to feel that the invisible world is so important to us. Up and around and catch. Good. Later we'll do that with more steps again as we practice. But I want to do that with the Michael verse that I did with you last week. And this is something we do with the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th graders. And we go. Thou Michael, the victorious, I make my circuit under thy shield. Thou Michael, of the white steed and the bright, brilliant blade. Conqueror of the dragon, be thou at my back. Thou ranger of the heavens, thou warrior of the King of all. O Michael, the victorious, my pride and my glory. Thou Michael, the victorious, the glory of mine eyes. And rest. Wouldn't it be nice to do that a lot more? And you can do that at home. Of course, as I said, I spend 5 to 10 minutes for each of my Eurythmy practices working with the rods and inventing new forms for it. So please, I encourage you to take it up in your own work. Now we'll go on and do the contraction expansion exercise. Sometimes I do that before the rod exercise, but I'm placing it here because soon we're going into the colors. Remember, up, down, right, left, front, back. And remember that your most important capacity is to awaken. The capacity is what you hold in your wisdom-filled heart. Your head has the power of making thinking possible. It doesn't think, your brain doesn't think, but it makes it possible. And your heart weighs your thoughts, understanding how good or how wise they are. And this heart has an opening, I call it an invisible door to the spirit. So we must always try to be breathing and aware of our centering there. And a wonderful place to work with that is with the exercise of expansion, contraction. So spread your arms wide, as we've done many times before. Feel yourself like an open flower and take the light from the skies into your heart. And now when it touches that core of your heart, that invisible point beyond space and time, start to grow. And grow your seed outwards, back like an opening flower to the skies. And bring that light back into yourself. A fertilized seed inside you. And now let that grow and grow. And your heart, your blood, and your breath are always doing that. So let's bring light into the heart. Within my heart shines the light of the sun. Within my soul weaves the warmth of the world. I will breathe the light of the sun. I will feel the warmth of the world. Light of the sun pour into me, and warmth of the world. Now drop your arms. Warmth of the world flow through me. Now at the conclusion of that contraction expansion, as you drop your arms, feel yourself fully breathing, filled with this living light. Now you know that this exercise wants to be moved forwards and backwards. So to make this work really well, please remember threefold walking. Touch your feet with your toes first as you walk forwards and backwards. Why? That enables you to talk to the earth about what you're doing, but it also allows you to hold your energy in your chest, in your heart, and not down in the hips. So you touch with the toes first, you'll remember with threefold walking, and then you roll your foot down on the ground with every step to ground. We've practiced that in previous sessions slowly, but we're now ready to do it in a more fluid way. Remember also, as we go forwards, we feel front space, and as we go backwards, we feel back space, looking with our backs at the invisible world behind us. So that's our real task right here. Are you ready? Open your arms wide. And with 3 steps forward, within my heart. Now feel your arms like big wings as you go backwards. Look into the backspace with your inner eye. Shines the light of the sun. How big are you? Like a huge eagle, yes? Within my soul weaves the warmth of the world. I will breathe. The light of the sun, I will feel. The warmth of the world. Light of the sun, pour into me. Warmth of the world, flow through me. Let's go on now. I'd like to take you into the world of colors in Eurythmy. And today, as we begin, I want to begin with the color pair, yellow and blue. As I said before, when we do the colors in Eurythmy, we're letting our aura express the different colors. This is not drama. So it's not play acting. It's not mime. We are looking for an experience of the inherent quality and dynamic of the different colors and letting that become our aura. We could say, I'm going to do the gesture for yellow. That's actually an inadequate expression. We could say, I'm going to do yellow. A better way to do it would be to use the verb itself in a new way and say, I'm going to yellow, I'm going to blue. And how do I yellow? That's our journey here. With the contraction expansion, we have an archetype for the colors of yellow and blue. Not exactly the color themselves, but an archetype for it. Yellow, nothing better than to think of the sun in the sky. If we think of the naive drawing of a child who draws a circle, the sun circle, and rays of light pointing out. This is how we experience yellow in movement. So what's involved here? We must feel our heart as a center. That's what we've been working on, yeah? And from the center, we want to share, we want to give out. And so from the center, light streams outwards. And in this, we have a kind of joy. If we are really entering, if we're really yellowing, this movement gives us joy. You can move here or here. Yellow wants to expand into the periphery. So I'm feeling all these rays of light. And in fact, it's also would be appropriate to, as much as our physiology is capable of, move this yellow in front of us and behind us. What's the muscle tension in yellow? Very little. My tension is quite selfless as I just let light stream from inside out. If I were rigid, I would hold it, and that takes us into a different color dynamic. Yellow aspires to be straight lines and bright, but without tension. Sun shining, illuminating our universe. Once again, you can experience, can't you, that you have to move your center into your heart, not control it from this head, but let the heart shine yellow. We can feel in yellow light I feel delight. And this wonderful yellow energy can also affect the way that you step. Your feet can also be yellow, although that's not so inherent for them. So let's walk forwards and backwards in the experience of yellow. It's yellow forwards and yellow back. Starting from here, in yellow light, I feel delight. In yellow light, I feel delight. In yellow light, I feel delight. Good. And now let's contrast that with blue. And we think right away of the blue of the sky that surrounds the sun. Blue is embrace. Yellow is straight lines. Blue is the periphery that holds and surrounds the center. Again, I don't have much muscle tension. That's not the point. But I imagine, right now I'm going to imagine that I'm as big as the sky. And what's in front of me is the sun. So we can do something so big with our Eurythmy imagination. Big like the blue sky. There in the center is the sun. I hold it again. And hold. Yes. And again. And the cup of blue embraces me and you. Now, those of you who already know Eurythmy, you know the sound B, and B has a lot of blue in it. We will call upon this when we learn blue later, but we're not doing the sound B with this round movement. We're just doing blueness by rounding. B, and B. Actually, B doesn't like straight lines, not like the yellow. B, or blue, would like me to round, would like me to round about that sun. Now I can just emphasize where we are bluing, improvise, right and left, front and back. As we embrace stars, embrace, we blue the flowers, we blue the bushes. We are like a big blue world. Now there are different shades of blue, aren't there? Even more than different shades of yellow, different shades of blue. Blue is born out of darkness. It's going to go towards the lighter shades. So join me in this little experiment here. Let's stand here without tension. My arms are straight down, but very relaxed. And now I'm going to start bluing them. Right now I'm dark, but without any color. I'm going to start bluing, but I'm going to begin by making a dark blue. With a dark blue, I keep my arms here. I can think of some pieces of fabric that I have that are very, very dark blue. Or the flower of the gentian. How is this? This is a deep blue. And how I come more into the blues like navy blue and cobalt blue. Now my shades of blue are becoming lighter. And I will even lift higher. It's possible to create blues up here. Light blue and even sky blue. Isn't it wonderful how many kinds of blue there are? But here it feels less heavy. If I blew up here, I can be light. It would be hard to do a sky blue down deep. And we'll go down again through some more deep realms. Blue. Now we're going now more into the deeper blues. Yes. Try that again. Maybe we can make little forms as we do. Deep blue, the embrace of blue, the curves of blue, she's of blue, embrace the sun and embrace me and you. How can you make this real? Yeah. Can you imagine, and you can practice this perhaps later, walking through your world in blue? You know that we make blue moods and yellow moods in our life. So get to know them. You can feel whether your energy is blue or yellow. And next week we'll come into red and green as well. Another way to play with this is just with your hands. So what if you've been, for instance, sitting at the computer and you just want to have a little bit of fun for a moment? You can practice a little bit of bluing with your hands. You can curve them here and you can lighten them. I am bluing and yellowing. Bluing, yellow. In blue, I surround an imagined center. There's a center point here every time I move. And in yellow, I stream out from the center. See if you can get that as you work. Practice surrounding the center. It's not a question of muscle tension. It's not a question of drama. It's a question of what your aura is doing. I round my aura. I shine my aura from a center. I round an aura. This aura is strong. It doesn't let me collapse it. I round around the center. Now I slip inside the center and ray out in yellow. All right. Thank you. I hope you enjoy that. It'll be a lot of fun. And then red and green and so on. Later, we're not ready for this by a long shot, but later we'll learn that every sound has a weaving of colors in it. And I mentioned that already in reference to the bee, that the bee has a feeling of yellow inside and blue in its veil, and also red hidden there. But we're not quite ready for that. Let's just practice getting to know the colors. I'd like to turn now to the vowels and begin working with them. We did them in the second webinar series. Most of you are familiar with some of the vowels, but let's just lay the seed for them. We're going to need them as we go towards this poem we're working on, Into the Depths of the Earth. So remember, in language, we're trying to understand how sounds are spiritual beings, the expressions of spiritual beings. What do we do when we do a sound? We try to make ourselves as if transparencies for these archetypal energies to shine through us, through our mind, through our emotions, through our etheric body into the physical body. We have to know what we're doing. And so we have to get to know the different sounds. The vowels and the consonants, we've spoken about this before and it's written in your PDF. The vowels and the consonants are polar to one another. Consonants surround from the outside. We'll do that later in another series. Vowels are the singing sounds that come from inside your heart. They manifest how we feel about the world. So let's begin with the sounds in the order that they appear in the language, in the archetypal Romance languages, and also how they live in the mouth. Many of you will remember that. We have ah, a, e, o, u. Please practice saying that with me and notice how the ah is created by an open mouth and the oo by having your lips forward. The other sounds are in between. So try with me. Ah, a, really grit your mouth to do that. Grit. A, E, feels like this up, down. O, your lips begin going forwards. Ooh. Again, ah, A, E, O, ooh. Again, ah, A, E, O, ooh. So in this sequence of vowels, we have a metamorphosis of qualities. Ah, the sound of beginnings, innocence and wonder. Ooh, is the sound of streaming towards a goal at the end of things. E is right in the middle. It's what we begin with in this up-down exercise. So we have wonder. A, coming to terms with yourself. E, straight, centered, and balanced. O, going out into the world to meet it. Ooh, striving with all you have into the future. Ah and A are more personal. O and oo are more world. E is self in balance. So let's go into the ah. Remember, you won't speak. You ask your arms to manifest what you're feeling. From your heart, feel wonder. And from your heart, open into a place where you have no boundaries, where you're ready to learn and receive. And in this position, try to make your whole world through your arms resound with openness, innocence, receptivity, wonder. You don't have to look up, but feel up. Thank you. Just like I say, when you're going forwards and backwards, feel it. Don't look there. Like when you go back, don't look there. The same thing applies to up and down. Feel up, but don't look up. You'll be much more powerful. Again, here we go. Create the feeling of wonder and bring it to manifestation in your arms. Just as in speech, you would do it with your mouth. Express it through your arms. When you get to full manifestation, it's done. Just like a sound disappears when you breathe out, so your movement disappears when you're completed. Ah, there you go. And again, wonder. Ah. And you remember we can do ah in all kinds of directions. We can do it ah below. And we can do it tiny if we want. Ah. Wherever we can create this cup of wonder. And again, and you'll sense the streaming opening. Ah. And we'll move right on to the second sound, which is A. From this intense opening, we're going to close and make separation. A. All right. I want you to anticipate that in the weeks to come, we're going to learn some of the in-between vowels, and there is a whole host of sounds between ah and A, and those are the sounds like ah, eh, eh. Yeah, those eh sounds happen here where we're moving out of openness into boundaries. We haven't committed to boundaries yet. We're kind of weighing our separation. We'll come to that later. But let's go back into the pure opening. And we go straight into clear closing. A. Good. And again, I'm open. Anything can come in. A. But to understand things, I have to separate myself, make closure. Again, and closure. A. Good. Next step. Become consciousness, move this consciousness of self into your heart for the E. I know myself. Because I know myself, I can stand in balance between polarities, between heaven and earth, right and left, up and down. Doesn't matter which hand is up. It could be either one. And feel the strength of balance. E. And rest. We are going to continue that, but this is for you to continue your own journey of discovery in Eurythmy. Practice yellow and blue and practice these first 3 vowels. Become them. Now, we are also going to work in this series on moving in different directions. And we've already started that a bit today, but I'm so eager to get to the study of doing curves and circles. As I said last week, straight lines are pretty important, pretty basic to us. And curves are a whole nother story. Straight lines are what human beings make. Straight lines are connected to our thinking. Directed focus, concentration. And curves are related to our activity, to our will, when we have to take care of things, take hold of things around us, what we're going to build and make. So they're polar experiences. Now you'll remember last week, and also in the last module, we were already working with feeling what it is to go forwards or back. As you go forwards, you feel drawn forwards by this point. As you go backwards, you're drawn by that point. So you go to the right, drawn here. To the left, you're drawn here. So in movement, I feel that I have a whole circle around here. I should point out that circle extends all the way through my body. I also feel that here. Because my moving center in Eurythmy is here between the heart and the larynx and not here in the hips, I carry it here around the shoulders. So as we did last week, let's begin practicing these different directions. I start in center, going to move forward 3 steps and come back again. Moving forwards, I walk into the sense world. Moving backwards, I walk into the invisible world. Stop here. This is where you started. Take 3 more steps backwards and go even further into the invisible world. And 3 steps forward, feeling the front space and coming back to ground. So we are in this exercise building across. I go forwards into the sense world and return from there to my cross. I go back into the so-called spirit world, the invisible world, and I bring that back to my cross. I will go to my right, feeling here, and bring it back to my center. I'll go to my left, and bring it back to the center. All the time, I find myself in myself. The fruits of this for you as a Eurythmy practitioner is that you're always knowing how to play life and come back to center. So let's take 3 steps forward into the sense world and 3 steps back. Here I am grounded again. I take 3 steps back. I'm always connected to my star, yes, but I also am feeling these different surfaces. 3 steps here. To my right, I go to the will side of my body, and I bring that back to center. I go to the heart side of my body, and I bring that back to center. Good. And again, I go forwards into the world, feeling the front, back to center. I go backwards, back to center. To the right, back to center. To the left, and back to center. Just in case you forgot, when we go sideways, please cross your feet. I'm doing threefold walking the whole time, always touching with the soft part of my foot first. But when I go sideways, I cross my feet. Also, when I go this way, yeah, and the crossing step I make in front, just to be clear. That enables me to be very, very limber where I'm going. All right. You'll remember then that when we do a pentagram, a 5-pointed star, which we worked on last time, and in the last module, 2 modules ago, we can feel the whole pentagram here on our shoulder girdle. So we feel, I start from my back, and I go diagonally forward to the right, goes right through this point on me. Now I'm going to go diagonally back to the side. I'm going to go sideways, diagonally forward, and back to this point. Some of you remember doing that well. I want to pick that up more next week, but right now I want to go into making the circles with you so that we can start laying the foundation. It will take a while to learn them. To do the circles, we must always know where our midpoint is. In fact, even if we're doing a simple curve, we have to know where our midpoint is because we always relate to it as our center point. So if I imagine the circle I'm going to do, I can put the point of reference in the middle in front of me here, and then I can go around it. But I'm going to tell you in a moment that that's only the beginning. That would be making a circle, perhaps like a dancer would, because I'm related to the physical laws of gravity, sucked into the middle. But let's try that. My center is there. So as I go, and we always face forward in Eurythmy. As I go here, now my center's over there. Now I get up here, my center is behind me. Still back there as I go around here, and I go around there. So I'm scooting around the center, always knowing, you see, it's a lovely movement, centripetal, but it's related to gravity in the center of the earth. You got that? Try the other way around. If I use that in Eurythmy, that leaning inwards, it's only because I'm telling a story about someone who's stuck. But in Eurythmy, I know where the center is, but I relate to the great periphery of the stars as I go. So without forgetting where that is, my center, I feel what's behind me. And the first quadrant of the circle will go up to there, outside. Ready? I'm going to start behind me, feeling my back. And now I feel my movement coming around from my back to my right side. No? There's my center. There are the stars. Think for a minute. You're going to go to the front now. The stars will be in front of you. The earth will be behind, but you are seeking the periphery. Now I'm going to seek the periphery there. And now, always, the last quadrant is the hardest. So I'm going to go from here back to my beginning spot. I don't want to forget those stars. It's so hard for people to find them. Can you? All the way, so you have to go across your back. You can't look with your eyes too soon, right? Okay, let's try again. Around to your right shoulder, around in front of you, around the wide way to your left shoulder, and around your back. Again, from behind. 1, 2. I'm taking 3 steps for each quadrant. You can do more, but 3 is working well. And back, around that back space. Good, let's change direction. Over here, I think you'll find that space is easier. Always the first quadrant's easier. Here to the front, around to your right side. Maybe this last quadrant is easier or harder for you. Find out. Got it? Try that way again. 3. All right. Now, when we have this mastered, later on when we do our blues, we'll be able to do them much more correctly. And when we do spirals, we'll need to understand how to make these curves. Let that be an inspiration for you for why you should practice that this week. Try to become fluent. I can't tell you how long, how many months I've spent learning circles. Let's create a little exercise for you to do circles. I stand here. I'm going to take 3, this is my center, 3 steps back to the back of the circle, and then do a complete circle, and then take 3 steps forward and return to where I am right now. Let's try. 3 steps straight back with straight line energy. 1, 2, 3. Okay, my attention's behind me. I know where my center is. I make a big circle around, touching the stars from behind me. And now, straight line, very different experience, deliberate. Same thing, but let's go the other direction around counterclockwise. Straight line, feel the clarity. Curved line, starting behind you, going around, feeling the greatness of the world all the way around. Now change, straight line. I hope you can feel that back again. 1, 2, 3. Curve all the way around. And straight line in. Good. Please practice that, and we'll see where that will get to. To tell you what's ahead, there are things like lemniscates, figure 8 forms, going to the right and around, and then to the left and around, to the right and around, left and around. There are curves. There are alternating curves and loops, and so on. So if you've ever watched a Eurythmy performance, you see so much agility. It's because we have learned to move the instrument of the body in according to the lawfulness of the etheric world. Why is that interesting? Because in Eurythmy, we are learning to pick up this so-called fallen material physical body and teach it once again how to connect to the etheric body all the way through, in the way that it moves, the way the organs work inside, everything. We work so that the etheric body remembers its etheric, so the physical remembers its etheric. Likewise, we are working so the etheric can obey the laws of the astral body, so that when I want to move the feeling of yellow, the etheric body can do that. Likewise, I train the astral body so that it's able to embody true meaning, sounds and words and intention. So it's all, the astral body is led by intention. And then what does the etheric body or the ego listen to? The self. The ego is looking to the genius of language, the spirit self. So I dare to say, for you to take up these practices, go more deeply into how to carry your body, has implications in all aspects of your life. Now, we are working on this poem, Into the Depths of the Earth, Lead the Paths that we tread. And we are building the foundation for the poem on the cross that we've been practicing in these last days, or these last minutes, I'm sorry. We have forwards, backwards, back, forwards, left, right, left, and so on. And then in the next verse, we have a spiral, but we haven't been able to get to that yet because we're only just learning how to do forms, the circular forms, but we're almost there. Let's go back and see if we can create the foundation for this poem. As I said before, you begin by standing on a place of balance between front and back, between right and left, between darkness and light, between earth and heaven. And I'm sure you remember we met this archetype with the peace exercise, already laying the foundation for what we're doing here. We won't do sounds yet, but soon. Let's begin, and we're going to take 3 steps forward, feeling what happens when we are born, what happens when we wake up in the morning and slip into our bodies again. Are you ready? Into the depths of the earth. You see how blue I've become? I go back again. Lead the paths that we tread. I'm in balance. Very much into the light, while from the heights of heaven, total backspace, bring that light with you, shines from afar, our star. How straight do you stand? Conscious of light. Now to your left, 3 steps crossing, we stand on the earth. Very matter of fact, 5 steps to the right. We are chained in matter. Back to the center, but we are, let's do a great big E, we are free. Forwards like getting born, for we go between darkness. Now 5 steps back, and light, and 5 steps forward, and of darkness. 5 steps back, and light are we. Once again, establishing this balanced place. The path that we tread leads us on until we come once again to the light, and ever descend we anew, and ever return to the light. So that's up ahead of us. All right, our time's coming to a close. Take a moment to fold your arms. Breathe. Thank you. Thank you. All right, that was a rich and full lesson. We worked hard today, met a lot of things, and now I'm going to ask Michelle to step in, my great colleague, who's going to help me to answer your questions. So Michelle,
yes,
hello, what have we got?
We have, well, the first one comes to us from Janine, and she wondered, should yellowing feel warmer and bluing feel cooler?
It should. It should. You're right with the temperatures, and still yellow is not yet hot. We'll feel a lot more heat when we get into the oranges and the reds. Yellow is selflessly glowing, a little warm, yes, and blue likewise, a bit cool. Good, Janine.
And then Christine's statement, I'm going to transform into a question, or you'll just receive it as a question. How about that?
Okay. Yeah.
She said, I am having great difficulty becoming blue or yellow. The color work is a challenge. I feel like and trying is in quotes, I feel like I'm trying rather than becoming.
Yes. Yes. And I understand. And I want to say it's so much closer to you than your worry about it is, for all of us. That we all know these colors. We know them. They are living in our soul as different temperatures of warmth and lightness, of warmth and cold, as different feelings of joy and inwardness or deepening. And this is a doorway, one more of those amazing Eurythmy doors to open that. I understand what you mean. And that's, as I think everyone's experienced before or now in Eurythmy, we have to crack open and discover, like children, things that have become abstract for us. I know you've got this, but you don't know that you've got it yet. And that's, yeah, try to help you. And for anyone, by the way, who's got enough money to invest in a fabulous book, and the book is somewhere between $50 and $100. I don't know what it costs, but there's a book that a Eurythmy colleague of mine wrote. The book is called Colors by Reg Down. That's the author, R-E-G, last name Down, Reg Down. This book is amazing. Colors, Reg Down. And it's especially important for Eurythmists. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, that's in the chat. Now, you're welcome. Christine asked, well, first she said, it's easier for me to cross behind when moving sideways. Should I focus on crossing in front, even though it's hard for me?
So let me show you once again. I put my open step behind and the cross step in front. Yeah, open step back, cross step in front. And yeah, it's okay. It's equally valid to cross behind, but I'd like you to feel that you have something like two roads or two tracks of a railroad, and one foot is on the back track and the crossing front is, or one foot is on one track and the crossing foot is on the other track. So you don't You don't get your feet tied up by trying to get them on the same track like that. Move 2 tracks. I hope that's clear.
Lovely. Okay, this one's
I should just say a lifetime of practice has given me to see that I can do it a whole lot better if I cross in front. If someone finds it's better the other way, I won't object.
Is that a challenge or an invitation?
It's an invitation. Thank you.
I thought so. And then Christine said, the circle with stars is confusing for me.
To understand where the stars are, perhaps, probably. I imagine a whole circle of stars all around me. And the earth, if you will, in the center. You can make your picture. And I start out feeling a star behind me, and then a star over here, and a star over there, and a star over there. Like, if you want, you can think of the zodiac around you. But I'm not sure that helps. It might be too much to think about. And probably every one of you has felt, oh, this is so unusual. I don't even know where to begin. Dear friends, I wrote about it in the PDF. Maybe that will also be a good access. And otherwise, Christine, come see me. We'll talk about it. That's an invitation.
Okay, Janine asked, should we feel a sense of expansion when making the first curve of the circle and a sense of contraction when we're closing the circle? And then she referred to yellow and blue.
Absolutely not. When you're doing the circle, the blue is in the center and there's yellow all the way around you. And that will keep you from collapsing that last quadrant of the circle. Oh, and again, that's in the document that I send. You see that the circle has got these, if it printed, Michelle warns me it doesn't print very well, but the circle is surrounded by these yellow points of light. I hope they come through on your PDF.
They definitely show up on the screen. So you can get out your colored pencils.
Okay.
Okay, Ayana said, Cynthia, can you please summarize the connections we should make with the physical, etheric, and astral?
Ah, yes. What we're going to do in my lecture. The physical body inherently obeys the laws of gravity. In Eurythmy, we work hard so that the etheric body, first of all, we have to be well grounded. That's essential. But then we work so that the physical body learns to obey the laws of the etheric, like this. Physical body, etheric body obeys the laws of levity and flows through time. Then we train the etheric body so it obeys the laws of the astral, meaning that it is able to not just expand like that, but to expand in different colors so that we actually can bring qualities into our etheric movement. And then the astral body has to be purified and trained through self-development so that it obeys the laws of the ego, which is not subject to the drives and passions and addictions and so on. It soberly knows what its intention is. The ego is given itself over to the higher worlds, the logos, the archetypes. It's big, isn't it? Isn't it beautiful?
A lifetime of work.
A lifetime of work. And that's why the Eurythmy training is just an extraordinary process. But you can do some of it. That's my commitment. Give it to you.
That's why we're here. Yeah. Abigail said, when I finish the color work, I feel very tired. Is there an explanation for that related to working with the astral?
You know, Abigail, I would say you shouldn't feel tired. And it probably means, and maybe this is a little wave to Christine as well, and maybe others, it should not be tiring. It should be transparent, like working with light. So, and if you have to feel, how do I get that yellow out there? That's too much. It's a question of allowing yellow to come, allowing blue. And my move, I've got no tension in my arms at all. It's breathing light. So if you feel tired, try to dial back the astral activity and make it more of an ethereal quality. Relax into it. Relax. Become a transparency for light. I hope that helps.
Okay, Ben's question is, he said, when I was yellowing and switched it to bluing, I had blue on my leg, then I lost the blue for a second. Do you think that is a byproduct of not initiating the experience from the spinal locks or heart, maybe? I just want to feel like it's flashing in and out in that moment.
So when you were yellowing and changing to blue, it got into your legs. Did it get into your whole aura or just your legs? So when I do it, like my whole aura is yellow, and then in my consciousness, I evoke, I should maybe say I invite the genius of blue to be present instead. Did you see how easily that goes? Yellow, and now I invite something else to be here. And yes, that should go all the way through the body, but you're not trained as a eurythmist yet. And so there will be blocks, blindnesses, and the whole eurythmy training, we are constantly finding places where our mind doesn't go through, sometimes because of blockages in the spine, yes. Energy blocks, sometimes even trauma. But we really try to heal through meeting the archetypes and not by meeting trauma. As a eurythmy trainer, if I see someone, for instance, who's got something with the spine, I don't try to fix it. I tell them, go to your acupuncturist or your cranial sacral worker. Yeah. Sometimes it's right in the physical, but many times you can order that through your consciousness studies, practice. Hope that helps.
Thank you. Anne said, last week we started the Michaelmas verse with the German E. I'm going to E, A. Today we did a B. Does that matter?
With the German A, oh yes, we did. I am brave, because I wanted to emphasize the vowel work in that verse. And I do either one with the children, brave or brave, either one. You merely called attention to an inconsistency in me, because I've done enough eurythmy, I can do either one. Remember, as a eurythmist, I would not do this with very little children. Same thing with the rod exercise people. For instance, don't do the sevenfold exercise with little children. Don't do the rod exercise until at least 6th grade. They're too young. There's an age appropriateness for the different exercises. I'm not teaching you how to work with children.
Okay.
Teaching you how to develop yourself.
So in the chat session, Janine gave a link for the for the book by Reg Down, and then Eli asked Color and Gesture by Reg Down. Is that the same book?
Hey, it might be. I know that Reg rewrote the book, so I think so.
Okay.
That might be the same. I've got the original version, and they can't be too different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Janine chimed in and said, yes, it is. Okay. Cool. Genevieve says, if I tend yellow more than blue, is the yes, no, and sympathy, antipathy exercise the way to bring myself more into balance?
Oh, what a wonderful question. Genevieve, it all works. Yes. Yes, no, sympathy, antipathy, they all bring you into balance. Tending more yellow than to blue, that's fine. Next week we'll do green, which is the balance between yellow and blue. I hope you can play with both of them, but I understand what you're saying. You've got more of the light pull. That's great. Enjoy it. I'll bet some people would like more of that. That's hardly an answer, but it's kind of like apples and oranges. They're different stories. And yes, no, and sympathy and antipathy work on balancing us out. So does the sound E, so does learning green, so does the peace exercise. So sorry for the non-answer, but it's all good.
Okay, I was scrolling through the rest of the chat, Cynthia, and I believe the rest were comments to you, and I believe we answered all the questions. I know we've run over, but I believe we did address the questions.
Okay, and I see one more just came zipping in, but I can't read it, so you'll get that.
Our dear Sarada. Okay, Sarada asks, how do the colors in Eurythmy work with one's own temperament?
They objectify it. How's that?
Okay, thank you.
Obviously, the different temperaments will have affinities to different colors. And as adults, our work is to become universal and not get stuck in any one of these rooms that we can get stuck in. So we should know all the colors, and then we become a full human being and not just a little slice of the pie.
Okay, I am going to scroll back up to Tish's question. She said, when initiating the third quadrant of the circle, it seems crossing behind is necessary to stay on the 2 tracks you described.
Let me try. Good for you. This is a tricky one. I start my circle. I cross in front. I cross here. I'm crossing in front. And you are absolutely right, Trish. I cross behind. I cross behind. Yes. When I'm going forwards, I cross in front. When I'm going backwards, I cross behind. Thank you, Trish. You're right.
Okay.
I didn't want to put too many words into all of that. Some people will get confused by that many words, but you noticed. Good for you.
Okay. I think
all right,
we're there.
Thank you. I will write up the exercises. I'll put this into a YouTube for you and send out the link sometime this afternoon. Thank you very much for being part of this. Good luck on your practices. And again, heartfelt thanks for your donations to make this possible. And good news, we're going to start a new series in about a month or so, 6 weeks, of short lessons to reinforce how to do just a little practice, because what you're involved in is the whole pie, and I'm having so much fun sharing all of it with you. Okay, thank you so much for joining in, and all my best to you. In this time, keep your peace. Keep your peace. We've got this.